Mario's always been at home when it comes to video games. I don't need to tell you that legacy because it pretty much just speaks for itself. Given Mario's popularity, there have been attempts to seize opportunity and make some more money by making more media for Mario. Most of these attempts happened in the late 80s and the early 90s, and nothing, if anything, after that. Not that I need to tell you this, but the problem Nintendo and many other companies face is that adapting a video game into a televised or cinematic experience isn't a one-to-one thing. Nowadays it might be easier when you have narrative-driven games like The Last of Us, which had a quality TV adaptation. But for a series like Mario, where the narrative is as simple as it gets, you can't exactly stretch that out into its own thing. So it isn't a surprise that the forays into TV and film for Mario are sparse and weird. It all began in 1986, a year after Super Mario Bros. Released on the Nintendo Entertainment System and the Famicom. With the newfound success of Super Mario Bros., Mario's popularity was surging in Japan. So, Nintendo collaborated with Grouper Studios, a studio known for anime, to release Super Mario Bros. Peach Hime Kyushitu Dai Sasuken, otherwise known as The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach, released in Japan on July 20th, 1986, and nowhere else. The movie was supposed to be a tie-in to Super Mario Bros. 2, not that one, aka The Lost Levels over here. There was a ton of promotional material put out, from phone cards, watches, rice containers, ramen noodles, manga, an art book, 3 different riddle books, a picture book, and the soundtrack released on cassette and vinyl. The movie's story follows Mario, who works as a grocer, playing on his Famicom when all of a sudden, Peach runs out of the game and into the real world. Then Bowser follows, licks his lips, taps Mario once, and kidnaps Peach, but not without leaving her jewel necklace with Mario. The next day, Mario and Luigi come across this weird dog named Kibidongo, who steals the necklace. Chasing after Kibidongo, the Mario Brothers end up falling into warp pipes and getting isekai into the Mushroom Kingdom. They're greeted by this old wizard guy named Kinoko Senin, who tells them to save the Mushroom Kingdom from Bowser's clutches, since the brothers happen to be an alleged legend Peach believed would come and save her kingdom, and they need to stop Peach from marrying Bowser on Friday the 13th. So the Mario Brothers go on this journey and a lot of things happen. To its credit, the film is littered with enemies and music from the game. Many things of this movie actually end up being introduced in Mario games proper in the future, such as Mario throwing Bowser in the movie like he eventually would in Super Mario 64. This movie also holds a historical distinction, being one of the first 2 movies ever released to be based on a video game, the other being Running Boy Star Soldier Secret, based on Star Soldier, that was released on the same day. Mario sports his red hat, red overalls, and blue shirt, and Luigi sports a blue hat, overalls, and yellow shirt. Nothing like the green he's been associated with today, but it is referenced in an alternate costume in Super Smash Bros. I kinda lump Mario and Luigi and how they are in the movie together because they do feel really similar. They're just 2 goofballs that got isekai'd and they go on this simple arc to end up saving the day. Luigi does get high off mushrooms, which certainly isn't a joke that's worn out its welcome by any means. Princess Peach is the archetypal damsel in distress as you'd expect, but she does do some crafty stuff, so she's not a completely one-note character. Bowser doesn't feel intimidating, and his high-pitched voice may have something to do with that, but he's an evil turtle with magic that sims for Peach. To be fair, that's not an uncommon trope for Bowser, but here it kind of feels more cartoony than normal. Oh, and do you want to know how this movie ends? After Mario beats Bowser, he gives Peach back her necklace, saying he'll find the matching necklace only for it to be worn by the dog, which turns out to be the prince who was apparently cursed by Bowser and steals Peach from Mario right then and there. But Mario is satisfied knowing Peach just found happiness and he and Luigi just leave happily. Then Kinoko Senin appears to say that the real power-up was the courage he found along the way. Strange as it is, this movie provided the first opportunity for the world of Super Mario to be showcased beyond just a video game, and the West would end up catching on to this potential soon enough. DIC Entertainment, or rather DIC, was a company behind some popular children's cartoons in the 80s, like Inspector Gadget and Captain Planet. They did the Saturday Supercade from 1983 to 84 with a variety of arcade games that were popular at the time. Nintendo struck a deal with DIC to debut 2 shows in 1989, one being Captain N the Game Master, and the other being the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. A half-hour block that mixed live-action sitcom segments with cartoon episodes. The brothers were portrayed by the late Captain Lou Albano and Danny Wells, the former of which, a former wrestler and manager, made clear he initially didn't want to play Mario, but ended up warming up to the role and portraying Mario for a generation with a performance that fans and Lou look back on fondly. He embraced it, and he'd even do PSAs where he put on the Mario hat and say stuff like,
"If you do drugs, you go to hell before you die. Please."
Like the great mission to rescue Princess Peach, the Super Show had a commitment to providing a degree of faith to the material from the games. The show goes with this premise of Mario and Luigi being plumbers from Brooklyn and getting isekai to the Mushroom Kingdom. Why are both of these Mario adaptations isekais? And going on adventures with Princess Toadstool and Toad. 65 episodes were made, spanning from 89 to 91, and it's also one of the first times we've officially heard these characters in English. Lou and Danny commit to them sounding like Italian-American New Yorkers and carry that exaggerated energy both in the sitcom and the animated portions of the show.
I can't quit now, Luigi. I was born with a plunger in my hand.
I know. Boy, it was awfully hard on Mom.
Live action segments are just Mario and Luigi in a contemporary sitcom setting, which feel more jank than the cartoon portions. As far as the other voice cast goes, Peach is voiced by Jeannie Elias and sounds standard to how you'd think she'd sound.
Me join a harem? Oh, give me a break.
Toad is voiced by John Stocker and sounds like a bootleg Gilbert Gottfried.
You've been hitting the sauce again!
And Bowser, or King Koopa, was voiced by the late Harvey Atkin and sounds like a chain smoker.
When I want my feet licked, I'll ask for it. I want my feet licked.
All in all, the Super Show is your run-of-the-mill 90s children entertainment with Mario. That wasn't all they had though. Dick also aired The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World. Mario, Peach, and Luigi were replaced with Walker Boone, Tony Rosato, and Tracy Moore, who honestly provide a similar performance to the characters that their predecessors did. These are pretty similar to what the Super Show was, except without any live action segments, and the former featuring material from Super Mario Bros. 3, such as the Koopalings being villains in the show, and the latter representing Super Mario World, with Yoshi and a prehistoric setting as well as social commentary as mandated by the Children's Television Act of 1990. Just go with it. Those wouldn't be the only 90s animated shows in the Mario universe. No. There's also Donkey Kong Country, a computer animated musical series with 40 episodes released from 1996 to 2000 by Nelvana. Interestingly, it's also the first animated series to be animated primarily through motion capture, so it allowed the actors to have a unique range of utilizing mocap as part of their performances. It was so unprecedented that it couldn't even be nominated for an Emmy because mocap wasn't considered genuine animation at the time. It also premiered in France, but that's not as interesting. I'm not going to tell you that there weren't any hiccups working with this technology to produce an animated series, because there were. The show itself takes place on Congo Bongo as Donkey Kong serves to protect the crystal coconut from the hands of King K. Rool. Coupled with the rough early mocap animation, the odd plots from episode to episode are just as strange. Heck, even the first episode, King K. Rool makes a clone of Candy Kong to lure DK to getting his hair cut bald, which is supposed to take away all of his strength. Yeah, I don't know why either. Everyone seems to do a pretty good job of representing these characters. Cricky sounds like an old hillbilly.
One beaker contains herbal tea and the other is a metal-eating acid compound that could dissolve my innards in a banana sack.
Diddy sounds like a scrappy kid.
What, in this thing? I don't know, DK. I'm a little nervous. My knees are starting to chatter here after what happened last time.
Both exactly how one would imagine these characters to sound like. And Donkey Kong?
Why do I always have to start the day with a tough decision?
That isn't what you thought he was gonna sound like. And in case you missed it, this show is a musical. I'm dead serious. There have been 76 songs made just for this show with a decent range of sounds. All that considered, it's a fitting show for Donkey Kong. So far, everything is this weird mesh of 90s weirdness. But in 1993, Nintendo would take another step and partnered with the now defunct Hollywood Pictures to release Super Mario Bros., a feature-length film. This ain't no game. They're right. It was a joke. This film is a sci-fi adventure flick that has little to do with Mario. So it follows Mario and Luigi Mario, played by the late Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, two plumbers in a Brooklyn with a cyberpunk dystopian feel for some reason. There's a parallel world with intelligent descendants of dinosaurs because a meteor didn't actually kill them, and there's something King Koopa and something more dinosaurs. Mario and Luigi have to save the day, and Princess Daisy. This film's a mess. Everything is made to look more realistic and darker. But looking at how these characters are translated from game to movie says outright that this was the wrong thing to do. There's also a manga and a novel written for whatever reason I don't understand. The plot is insanely confusing. The writing is disastrous. It's insanely ugly, and this feels so detached from what Mario is as a property. I remember getting this movie for a birthday as a kid and just being confused because this didn't look like Mario. The bottom line is that the movie was a critical and commercial failure. It couldn't couldn't have been a worse Mario adaptation on all fronts. Bob Hoskins himself said the whole experience was a nightmare. What's really funny about John Leguizamo is that years later, he'd take on the role of Bruno in Encanto. In that, he plays up an excessive paranoia mixed with a timid attitude, which is in line with how Luigi usually is. So John Leguizamo pretty much played Luigi better as Bruno than he did playing Luigi. After that, Nintendo gave up. Many adaptations throughout the Mario were dormant throughout the 2000s, and the only thing that really kept going was the manga, Super Mario-kun. It initially was being serialized monthly in 1990, written by Yukio Sawada, and it's been going strong ever since. The content of the manga consists primarily of retellings of the Mario games released over the years, even with stories and events that don't happen in the games. It's a fun adaptation of the Mario series with a slapstick approach. It's a shame that the only releases outside of Japan have been to France and Spain, released as Super Mario Manga Adventures and Super Mario Adventures respectively, and the only official English translation done was by Viz Media in the form of a 160-page best-of issue called Super Mario Manga Mania. Despite a lack of localization, as long as Mario games keep coming out, there's still going to be Super Mario-kun, the longest lasting form of Mario media beyond the games to date. As far as other attempts, it wouldn't be until 2016 where there were talks of another go at a Super Mario Bros. Movie. This project would officially be announced in January of 2018 as a collaborative project between Illumination and Universal. It's got a unique production history and build-up to release, but the bottom line is that it released on April 5th, 2023 to mixed reviews from critics, but seeing major financial success, with over $1 billion being made at the box office. I'll be brief on what I think. It's gorgeous. Seeing all the Nintendo Easter eggs was fun, but only one part of this beautifully crafted world that looks incredible. Characters are also well animated and show a range of cartoonish expression and movement. Chris Pratt did fine. He didn't wow, but he kept me in the film at the very least. Same thing with Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach and Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. I don't think they're exceptional by any means, but they don't break the immersion at all. Now Jack Black Bowser and Charlie Day Luigi, heck yeah! I really wish Luigi was in the movie more because Charlie Day plays Luigi's cowardly, goofy little brother personality to a T, and he doesn't get enough opportunities to really shine other than his own brief scenes throughout the film. And Jack Black just did absolutely phenomenal. He portrayed Bowser as this tyrannical figure and an aloof simp in the same package and delivered. I don't even care how annoying Peach has become, or it's essentially just a Tenacious D song with a Mario coat of paint. I'm here for all of it. Everyone else served fine, except for Fred Armisen and Cranky Kong, to help make this movie as entertaining as it was. People are valid if they aren't satisfied with what the movie was, and I do think that the movie itself is inherently flawed and there are some things that I really don't like about it, but it blew past my low expectations, and I'm satisfied with that. And if their success allows us to see more Nintendo films, then count me in. All these attempts to translate Mario beyond games have come with big shoes to fill, not just in order to represent the most iconic game series of all time, but for anyone trying to portray Mario and live up to the voice that has been the gold standard for 2 decades, Charles Martinet. His voice for Mario, and Luigi, Wario, and Waluigi for that matter, has been a performance that has been attached to both the character and the hearts of millions of people that have played a Mario game. The only way to really quantify Charles Martinet's impact is how he'll be missed at the role. Him stepping down definitely stinks, and the person following him is going to have ginormous shoes to fill, but he's going to do great as a Mario ambassador, no doubt. So long, Gay Charles.
Bye-bye!
チゲだファンキーだみんな黙って俺についてこいイェチゲだファンキーだみんな必死で俺についてこいカモンチゲだファンキーだみんな黙って俺についてこいイェチゲだファンキーだみんな必死で俺に